This is the portfolio rubric guidance for Standard 1.NBT.A.1. Count to 120 by ones, twos, and fives, starting at any multiple of that number. Count backward from 20. Read and write numbers to 120, and represent a quantity of objects with a written number. This standard has many parts. If students are not successful at this standard at level 3, you can begin by assessing the kindergarten standard for levels 0 through 2. For this, you are going to assess the student's ability to count to 100 by ones, count backward from 10, and to write numbers 0 through 20. For the kindergarten standard, you are assessing in 3 parts. First, the teacher will ask the student to count to 100 starting at the number 1. Second, the teacher will ask the students to start at the number 10 and count backward to the number 1. And third, the teacher will ask the students to write numbers 0 through 20. Reversals are accepted as correct at the kindergarten level. Reversals of digits in place value order are not correct. So an example would be if the student should write 12, but they write 21, that is not correct. The first 2 parts are oral, so that would be a video. For the third part, we have a suggested task. You could assess the third part in one of 2 ways. First, you could give the students a recording sheet to write the numbers as you say them aloud. You will say all of the numbers 0 to 20 in any order that you choose. If you use this task, you must upload an answer key with the student work to show the order of the numbers that you called them out. You could also give students a recording sheet and ask them to begin at 0 and write to the number 20 in order. This can be assessed as a whole group, a small group, or individually. When assessing the standard at the first grade level, you are going to be assessing in several different parts. You are going to assess the student's ability to count to 120 by ones, by twos, and fives, starting at any multiple of that number. Read and write numbers to 120, represent a number of objects with a written number, and count backward from 20. Here in the rubric, we say that this has 5 parts because the first part is actually in 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3. Reversals are not accepted in the first grade standard as correct. So we have broken out the 5 parts into 7 different things you will assess. First, you will assess the student's ability to count to 120 by ones, starting at any multiple of the number 1. Second, the students will count to 120 by twos, starting at any multiple of 2. Third, the teacher will ask the student to count to 120 by fives, starting at any multiple of 5. Fourth, the student will start at 20 and count backward to 0. Fifth, the teacher can use flashcards with numbers from 0 to 120 and randomly ask the students to read the numbers. You must assess at least 5 different numbers. 6, the teacher will call out 5 different numbers and the student will write that number. The first number you call out must be between 21 and 40. The second number called out must be between 41 and 60. The third number must be between 61 and 80. The fourth number must be between 81 and 100. And the fifth number must be between 101 and 120. The student should be able to correctly write the number. In the last part, number 7, the teacher will give the students a sheet and it will have 4 sets, 4 groups of objects. The student will count those objects and write the correct number of objects. The first group should contain 21 to 30 objects. The second group should contain 30 to 50 objects. The third group should contain 50 to 75 objects. And the fourth group should contain 75 to 100 objects. Next, you will see some suggested tasks. These are the 7 different ways you could ask these questions to your students. These are just examples that you can use if you need them. Once students have mastered level 5, you can move into assessing the second grade level at 6 and 7. Here, you are assessing the student's ability to read and write 3-digit numbers, and that they will have to write them in 3 forms: standard, word, and expanded form. So this assessment has 2 parts, and it is aligned to the second grade standard, 1.NBT.A.1. So for that first part, show the students a 3-digit number, and the student will read the number. You must give the student 10 different 3-digit numbers to read. Then you move into the second part. Here, the teacher will say a 3-digit number, and the student will write it. They have to write it in each of these 3 forms, standard, word, and expanded, to be correct. The teacher will give the student 10 different numbers to write in those 3 forms. For a suggested task, we have an example of what you could do to assess. For that first part, you can use flashcards, or you can have a sheet with those 10 different numbers on for the student to read. This is oral. The students are reading the numbers, so you must use a video. You must also have an answer key for the numbers that you have given the student to read. For the second part, you are also going to be saying numbers, and the student writes them. You do not have to upload a video for the second part, but you do have to upload an answer key for what you say. Here you will see the required method of evidence for all three parts: video recording for all the oral parts, a writing product for all the written parts, and an answer key for all of the words and numbers that you say for the students to write. Once you have your student work, you will move to the rubric to assess. Now, think about, at the beginning, I said levels 0 through 2 are the kindergarten standard that had 3 parts. So if the student is unable to complete one or none of those parts, that's the score of a 0. If they are able to complete 2 of the parts, that's the score of a level 1. If the student is able to complete all 3 parts of the kindergarten standard, that is a score of a level 2. When you move into the first grade standard, you will be assessing here on the rubric at levels 3, 4, and 5. At level 3, you will see it says 5 of the parts. There were 7 things listed for the students to do. If they can complete at least 5 of those things, that is the score of a level 3. If they can complete correctly at least 6 parts, that's the score of a 4. And if the student is able to complete all 7 parts, that is the score of a level 5. If students are successful at level 3, 4, or 5, you do not have to upload evidence of the student being successful at level 2. If the student is successful at level 6 on that second grade standard, if the work does score a 6, you do not have to upload evidence at level 5. In order to score a level 6, there are 2 parts. First, the student should be able to read at least 6 of the 3-digit numbers, and the student should be able to write at least 6 of the 3-digit numbers in its standard form, word form, or expanded form. If they are successful, then you can move and score at level 7. At level 7, at least 8 of those 3-digit numbers need to have been read correctly, and at least 8 of the 3-digit numbers must be written correctly in standard, word, and expanded form.